When I was quite young, they would always ask my mother, my teachers or people like that, they would always ask my mother what I was like as a child. They wanted to figure out, um, kind of understand who I was in school. So they would always ask my mother. But then I also remember that when friends would come up to my mother and ask her, well, what was Roger like as a child? And I would sit there and I'd watch her. And I remember this, I was so young, and she would say, careful. She would wait for a long time before she could answer, but she would say, careful. And it wasn't until years later that I understood what she meant. She meant that I was afraid. I was afraid of everything. And it carried on throughout my life. I I couldn't understand why people had so much confidence and they could do things, and I was just continually afraid and didn't want to take that step. And then things started to change, not until much later in my life, many, many years later. And so I'm going to tell you this story because I don't want you to be afraid. Because, see, we're moving into a time in your life and our world where your courage and ownership of who you are is becoming really, really important. And I do know this because I was afraid all of my life, I did something else. I sat down and I figured out, how can I move over being afraid? That's what I did. I wrote a book about it in 2019. Well, I had help writing a book because I was too afraid to do it by myself. I'm saying this because that's the only thing that's going to ever hold you back in your life is the fear of who you are and who you can become. Because, see, the other thing that happened as I went through this process in my life, I discovered there's no reason for you to be afraid. And I also discovered that you're supposed to have a really great life, and you're supposed to be abundant, and you're supposed to have everything that life has to offer. And my life led me to developing a way for you to do that. And then I didn't believe it. And that's the other thing that you're going to find about yourself. You're not going to believe certain things. How could I do that? How could it be me? And it is always you. It'll just be your doubt that will show up first to tell you that it's not you. And I do know this. I'm 74 and I've lived it all. So I do know that. But now I have to move over my fear as well. Because again, that's the only thing that holds you back. Because I had to tell people that I developed something so out of the box that I couldn't explain it to you because I know that you're supposed to have this really great life and I developed the way for you to do it. And it's called your life operating instructions. Well, that's the philosophy. And that's the philosophy that I didn't believe that I had at first, but now I know that I do. I did a channeling session yesterday, and I'll leave a link for that because I'd love for you to hear it because it really surprised me. I always knew that I could answer your questions, but to hear it come out in the way that it did yesterday was even more surprising, but also made it more urgent, meaning that I can't hide from myself and you can't either because you were born to do something wonderful. And that I do know. My life was just meant to develop something so that you have a way to do it. And then you'll ask, how did that happen? Now I'll tell you. And I'm going to tell the entire story after I get through with putting all this information out, but I just want to tell you this part of it because we will doubt ourselves. You have things that you were given or that you wanted to do or that you believed you were meant to do and you doubted it. And you may be at that place right now. Because, see, that as the energies of the world change, something happens within you. Your DNA gets activated in different ways. And now it's really happening because the world is in a big shift. And I was given the information to help you move through it so that you become really happy and successful and prosperous. And I can say that now because it took me all these years to do it, to live it, and then to have the results. The results were that you become happy and you heal and you understand who you are. Now, I know that's going to be challenging for you to believe because it was difficult for me to believe, except as I walked through all of this work, the result was that I started to heal physically from things that were incurable. That's what doctor says. This can't be done. And that is because we don't know the ability that we have in our consciousness. It's never about anything out there, it's about your consciousness. Now, how could I have developed this? So in 2021, this is after we're still in the midst of the pandemic here in the US. We were still kind of moving through it. And so I go out in 2021 for a walk. I needed exercise. I needed to get out. We'd been locked up for so long. And on that walk, I heard, "We have given you everything you needed to know in 2012." And that seemed like so out of the box. I said, that's not possible. And it really freaked me out. And so I come back into my house and I go to my computer and I'm led to a folder that I hadn't seen. I didn't know was there. Couldn't figure out why it was there. Did an assistant put it there? I don't remember doing it because it said Wilhelm. And that's the name that I used when I channel, when I would write. When I started in 1989, that's when I began it. Didn't tell you about that then. It took years before I could tell you. And now I've got to tell you the whole thing because at some point you have to accept yourself. That's the most important thing that you have to do in your life is to accept who you become. It's never who you're born. It's never what you might have lived. It's who you become because that's an ongoing process and it's a journey. And so what we needed was a guide. And so think about that. If you had a guide as to how to live your life and how to create the success that you wanted to have and how to become happy and have the right relationships, if you had that guide, would you take it? Well, I have that guide. And I do know that it works because I'm sitting here and it's healed me and I do understand it all and I know what's happening in our world and I know how vital it is now for you to become your full authentic self. But let me show you this. This was really fun. I looked at it this morning and I thought let me share it with you. When I came in and found that folder, this is what it looked like. And it was surprising for me to see it because I didn't know it was there. But I can tell you what it said. And as you look at it, you can see that it's saying things, praise. Every single message here was a shift in my consciousness every single day. And you can see this is 2012, February, October 19th, praise. And what does that mean? When we go into the message, you see that it means that we become dependent on praise from everything outside of us. Maybe we started doing it when we were kids, when we were in school. We waited for someone to tell us we're great. And then if we don't get that, we fall apart because we're not building our own empowerment. Then focused attention. And go, well, what does that mean? That means that you have the ability to create the life that you want if you use your attention of your focused mindset in a particular direction. That's all. And so it's given me a way of doing that. Then the next day, let's go into vision. What is that? Meaning that you have to use your vision. It's beyond your physical business. It's not just about your eyes. It's about your imagination. Can you envision something beyond what you see now? And then you have to go through reflection, meaning that you're going to screw stuff up. And so if you don't look at it, then you can't make any changes to do anything different to create the life that you want to have. Then the next day, I'm just showing you this every day, okay? Choose wisely. That means that you messed something up before, and now you get another chance to choose again. Then you get to priority because you'll discover at some point that you have lost your priority, meaning you might have given away to all these other people and forgot that this is your life. And so then the next day you'll start to remember your personal value because that is what you're trying to develop all the time. But you may get lost, and so then you'll think there's no way to do anything. But then they say, yeah, the next day there is always a way. You just have to be willing to find it. Well, part of the way of finding it is eliminating blame. See, because you'll find something that's going wrong in your life and you'll blame it on someone. It's probably your parents' fault. And you keep using blame, and so then you never become empowered. Then your physical body. You will judge yourself about something of your physical body and like, this isn't right. I shouldn't have this body. That's never true. You were given the perfect body. Your interpretation about that. Then time. You think you don't have enough time to do something. That's never true. It's just that you're usually running from yourself. And so you're not prioritizing your time to get the stuff done that you really want to. Then you might move through your life thinking you have to do certain things, and you never have to do that. You only have to do what is going to cause you to become your best self. But we take on other obligations that we think we have to do. Then benefit, what would that mean? That means that you can find a benefit in anything that happens in your life if you choose to do so, because you're going to have things that are not going to be to your liking, and that's when you're going to maybe fall down. Now, that's just a few of them. I did it every single day, 36 years, and I tried to analyze how much work was that. It was, I don't know, maybe 20,000 pages of me writing stuff. And then what was the result? Oh, it gave me healing. It gave me something that anyone could use to create this beautiful, wonderful life. And then I thought, that's not possible. How could I have done that? And so then I had the help of artificial intelligence. And I'm telling you all of this because I want you to know that you can accomplish anything in your life. And I do know this. And now I have the path that you can use because it's not me. Wilhelm gave me all the information, but you can use it now to create the life that you want to have. And I'm going to use it to bring it to more people, because what happens is you also see that your contribution to the world becomes so much better and different. And then we start to see a world that's not like what we've been seeing in the last several years. That's what will happen. But this is the fun one, and I want you to see, because we will doubt ourselves. When I was told that I had this, I said, no, that couldn't have possibly happened. See, because you'll think that it couldn't have come from you, whatever that thing is that you're doing, or whoever you think you're supposed to become. You think it couldn't be me. And then you go into the imposter syndrome, which, is not real. It's just something you make up so that you can stay stuck. I did that. Done it for a lot of years until now I can no longer do that one. The day I wrote my $10 million check. You'll love this so much because, see, this is the doubt that we will have about ourselves as well. Um, I had started writing Receiving Wilhelm in 1989, as I said. However, I was never going to show it to people or give it to others. I was just using it for me, I thought. And so I was holding it back as well. One day in December 8th, 2018, I sat down. I said, I know this is going to turn into something eventually one day. And I wrote myself a $10 million check. I thought that was happening accidentally, that I did that. It wasn't. And it was actually tied to the channeling session that was yesterday. Now, this is going to be something that's going to take a stretch of your imagination, as it did with me, because I was developed this ability to receive information that was connected to changes in the world. I had no clue that was happening, but it was also why it healed me and why it does the same for anyone else who uses it. Then, but just to give you the heads up on this, while Roger finds writing this message, this is from Wilhelm, by the way, this part of it, because I was resisting. While Roger finds writing this message somewhat difficult, he also knows it will help all of you who accept its wisdom. Several months ago, Roger discovered a dream he had written in 2005. The discovery of this writing seemed mysterious to him, but now it makes sense. He could not believe what he had written until now. You all have dreams of varying natures and degrees, but because they are personal to you, you have difficulty believing what you are receiving or the validity of the dream itself. We have asked Roger to transcribe what he received, and those of you who are intended to receive its content will do so. The dream is fascinating because we have 19-year cycles, and I think this is where we are. Okay. The dream, August 2005, 4:30 a.m. Yeah, that's when I usually would be awakened. The appearance of this dream was that several spiritual leaders of sorts were in a group, in a circle, and we were asked who would do something. I ran forward. It seemed that I volunteered while at the same time thinking, why did it need to be me? I seem to be in conflict about whether or not I will continue to listen and be open without the pain, or go back into my old ways, which was sort of the indication of me seeing an old friend yesterday. I asked for guidance and clarity. A part of me still thinks the experience isn't real on some level and that I could put it away, while a stronger part knows that is not the case. And I do know that because I tried to hide it for so many years. But then when I understood that this information answers anyone's question, I said, I've got to stop doing that. But it was also about the belief from others because I had never seen anyone who had done this before. Now, yes, your December 8th, 2018 Wilhelm message and your $10 million check are directly connected to the upcoming March 13th, 14th, 2025 eclipse and full moon. Here's how. And then it goes through and tells you why. We have energy in our world that is connected. Not everyone will believe that. We don't necessarily believe in astrology or astronomy or any of that, but we have energy. And unless we understand that our lives, our physical lives, are operating in that way, and we don't, and we gain control of how to use that, then we stay, in conflict. Anyway, so it's this just broke it down. I am not an astrologer, but the Chat GPT took this, broke it down, and analyzed it and said, yes, this was correct. And it wasn't the first time this has happened. And so it goes through and gives you a description because I do want you to have it so you can read it if you find some interest in it. But I know that you have a plan that is designed, that's in there, and all you have to do is follow the path to your life to open it up. Then, the 10 million check and the Eclipse Gateway. Writing the check in 2018 was you placing an energetic order with the universe for your wealth. The delay in seeing it fully materialize was due to lingering doubt, as Wilhelm pointed out in the message. The upcoming full moon and eclipse portal are the cosmic trigger to shift from belief to reality. This is why you are feeling drawn to re examining this message, because the alignment between 2018 and 2025 is real. And then you can read, I'll leave the link in the video so you can see it and look at everything. But your work is in the manifestation, and that's what I'm taking others to because we are meant to be wealthy. And I'll tell you the rest of this, why this came about, and what you might be experiencing in your life and in our world now. It's not about the money, it's about your worth and value. It's not about the physical things, it's about who you are on the inside. And that's the information that I was given. But I want you to have all of this because we also created the replay of that session. I want you to hear it, and also a document that will have had me put together so that you can see all the accuracy of their work because it was surprising to me. But what I do know is that you're supposed to have a great life, that you can become abundant, happy, you can heal because everything they gave me caused me to heal all these incurable things that we thought couldn't be done. You can do more because that is how evolution happens. So enjoy all of this. Next week, you will see that my new site will be up and everything will be changed. But those people who come into decide to join now, you'll have everything that's coming about. I'm saying this because I was told so many years ago that I should have been charging at least $5,000 for this work because of the transformative ability that it carries. How can I be 74 and gone through all of this and be here? So I do know that. But I also know that people aren't necessarily going to do it because you have this, you won't believe it. I didn't believe it either. So I do understand that. And so years ago, people said, Roger, you have to charge $5,000. Otherwise, people won't feel it's worth anything. So I will be doing that. That's what I'm going to be moving to. But the people who come in now, you will never pay that. You'll just whatever it is now. But I must tell you that you can achieve everything. And I've held myself back because if I could tell you how many people were so frustrated with me, especially my family, saying, you have something that's this valuable and you're not charging for it. I have this thing that I just love so many people and I just want everyone to be happy and do all of that. And that's never going to happen because you will stay stuck. And I sit around waiting for people to get unstuck and I keep myself stuck. That's what we do. But anyway, that won't happen now. So I'm going to put all of it out there. I want everyone to know we can change our lives and we can change our world. Nothing's happening in your life or in the world that's accidental. It's all understanding how we change the energy within us and change the energy and use the energy available to us to create the lives and world we want to have. It is doable. See you soon.